The Word is God, and you are part of that everything. And when you speak things into existence, it's the same thing God was doing when creating the universe. Same thing. So speak it into existence. Believe it with every fiber of your being. Like, be it, become it, and then you just are. Like, that's how this shit happens. So in the practice room, that's one way where that's one example of the ising. And another thing that's super hype about this, everybody knows that the is ising, but they know it in a different way. Everybody realizes how it's all connected. It's all just one big thing doing its thing. Like, everybody understands that on some level in so many different ways. And language, no matter what kind of language it is, will always be lost in translation on some level. Like, that's what qualia is. So when you're talking, like me talking right now, you might have resonated with half of what I said, but I'm trying to send out as many different signals as possible to try to hit at least one, hit you somewhere for every person who listened to this. And maybe you didn't get some of it, maybe you got other parts, and that's different for someone else. That's everybody perceiving everything differently, because we all create our own perception. So when you're trying to express something through music, it can get lost in translation, but it's always going to be understood by somebody. So I think one way that we tap into getting connected as players, like when we play together and we start to tune our perceptions of reality through music to each other's, so that it's less of a separate thing that I'm doing individually, but more of a we are collectively making this music, and like we don't feel separate, we're not separated, we're together. I feel like the time where that really happens is when you lock in with the time. It's like, if you guys don't know where the timeline is for yourself and collectively, you might be on a lot of different interesting vibes, but no one knows exactly where you are compared to where their vibe is. But if you lock in, and I don't just mean like try to lock in, I mean lock in with every fiber of your being, and you guys lock in together and you're super tight, that's where you all can communicate with each other with much more clarity. And then it's beautiful, and it's like, it's almost orgasmic how beautiful it is to share and experience some form of language really functioning, breaking past the barriers of language itself, and allowing you guys to experience each other's reality, and then become more connected with the everything that is everywhere, that is the reality that you are a part of and everyone's a part of. So I feel like time is so deep, and I think it's super ironic and almost like a joke, the fact that time is a construct. The past and the present does not exist. The only thing the past and the future does not exist. The only thing that exists is the present. So if you are thinking about the future, the future isn't really there. You're just in the present thinking about the future. The future never gets there. When the future, the quote unquote future, is here, it becomes the present. The past isn't there. After the present is gone, it's the past and it's gone forever. It doesn't exist. Like, if the past is real, go show me. Go find it. All it is in your memories. And like, I almost think everything that we perceive is like the universe's memory of itself. I know that sounds super fried. But anyway, time is a construct. You know, like, have you ever been like, schedule something, say, hey, I'll meet you next Thursday, and you think you know what a week feels like, and you think you know when next Thursday is, but by the time next Thursday gets there, it feels like it's either been a month since you said, hey, I'll see you next Thursday, or a couple of minutes. You don't even, like, have you ever been there? Time is a construct. We all know. We play pretend like it's real and it's so solid and tangible, but it's not. Like, I feel like we perceive being in and out of flow states more than we perceive time. And that gets fried on so many different levels. Anyway, so time is a construct, yet locking in with the time somehow allows you to connect and communicate with your fellow musicians better. And the fellow musicians that you're doing that with could just be a symbol representing everything. The way that you lock in with anyone doing anything. The way that you lock in with everything. It's getting in the flow. It's like, yes, it's one thing to be locked in when you're swinging with a killing, group and you guys feel really good. That's one type of locked in. Guess what else is locked in? When you wake up and you feel great, you take a really nice shower, you eat something good for breakfast, you walk outside and you're like, damn, it's beautiful outside. I love it here. And then, you go about your day, you see a bunch of people you love, you share a bunch of vibes, you're in the flow. That's locked in. It's the same thing. The time, the quarter note on the ride cymbal, the backbeat, all of that, the syncopation, the pulse, the rhythmic dissonance, all of that is locked in. Like, all of that locked in is everything that we do every day in our lives. And it's not separate. Like, we can think of it as separate things, and we're almost programmed to think of it as separate things, but they are all the same thing. They're just unique iterations of the same thing. And I love to compare that to signifying. So what I mean by signifying is a word that came from the signifying monkey fable, and it's an African fable. And it's just, signifying has been a part of Black culture for the longest. So everything is being signified. The beat that you hear in the Beyonce song goes back to the hip-hop that came before Beyonce, goes back to the jazz that came before hip-hop, goes back to the Negro spirituals that came before jazz, goes back to the work songs in the plantations, goes back to the ring shouts in the African musical rituals. Signifying. They're all reflecting each other. They're all using and remixing each other. So that is what the universe and everything is doing with everything all the time. When you play jazz and you want to sit down and learn a song and solo over it, you are signifying. You're taking something you've experienced, heard, seen, felt, and you're recreating it in your own way. Signifying. When you and your friends have your little slang and your lingo or whatever, and by the dictionary, it's not really a word, it's not a real word or whatever, but you use that word and y'all know what it means something to you. That's signifying. Some of the best music that you like, listen to them. They're signifying something. There's no doubt that they're signifying. Everything that you experience and that you can be in awe of and that can bring you joy on some level is signifying something else. And what all this is doing to me is just the universe existing and then becoming conscious in a million different unique ways and looking at itself and saying, oh wow, this is hip, over and over and over again. All we are as conscious beings are just like little satellites to just capture a signal, pass on a signal, capture a vibe, pass on a vibe, capture energy, pass on energy. That's all we're doing. We're signifying. It's in the music. It's in the way you wake up in the morning and start your day. It's in the music that you, not only that you play, but the music that you listen to. It's in the food you cook. Like, if you cook some shit that's really good, you're signifying. Like, if you get down in the kitchen, you're signifying. If you dress with the drippiest style, you're signifying. Tell me that the drippiest styles out there don't have something to do with something they took from something else. Something they took from an older style that predated whatever their outfit is. Signifying. The best, the most popular pop culture stuff. Signifying. try to find some pop culture that is super popular and find one that isn't copying off of something else. Everything is copying off of something that came before it. It's like how the past and future don't exist. In the present, everything is signifying itself constantly, all the time. And it's beautiful. And sometimes we're in the flow and we are aware of that. And sometimes we're in the flow, we're not so aware of that. And sometimes we're in between, and sometimes we're not in the flow. But no matter what, it's always happening. That's what I mean by the ising. The is, everything that exists, everything that could be imagined. That is the is. The is ising. Like, it is doing its thing. It's happening. That's it. That's all art is. That's all science is. That's all business is. That's all constructs are. That's all experience is. That's all individuals are. Like, everything can be peeled back. You can peel back the layers off of everything and see that it's copying off of something else that already was there. And everything is related. Like, you can see it on a whole different level. And if you tap into that, it's like the universe has its own intuition. It knows what to do and how to be. You are a part of it. Just tap into the flow. Let it happen. And it will happen. It will happen. So I hope something in there resonated with someone.
The word is God, and you are part of that everything.
What I was trying to get at. Please leave some comments, questions,
things
hit
into
me up
existence.
in the DM, whatever. It's the
And
same
if
thing
you
I
have a
was
bone
doing
to pick when
or some
creating the
questions, or
universe.
you just want to say